Let's go, you guys. This is Mrs. Klein.
Hi, guys. It's Miss Burkles.
We are here today with your Lesson 29 podcast, all about the Incas. If you're in your history book and you want to follow along, please open to page 409. As always, there's a guiding question.
How did the Incas manage their large and remote empire? And we have our vocabulary: Ayu, communal, Incas, oracle, Quipu, and Chasqui.
All right, you guys. The Inca Empire was a complex society that developed in the Andes Mountains of South America. It flourished in what is now present-day Peru between the 1400 CE and 1532.
From north to south along the South American continent, the Inca Empire stretched for over 2,500 miles and included millions of people. To communicate across this vast distance, the Incas used runners called chasquis to relay messages from one part of their territory to another.
All right, you guys, picture yourself as a young Chasqui. You dart out of the messenger station and run alongside the other runner while he hands you a set of strings called a quipu. You quickly study the knots tied at different places in the strings, which stand for numbers that will help you remember the message. Now that his work is over, it's up to you to get the message to the next station as quickly as possible.
Wow, this remarkable relay system helped the Incas manage their far-flung empire. In this lesson, you will explore how the Incas built and maintained their empire. You will also learn about the Incas' class structure, family life, religion, and relations with other peoples.
All right, the rise of the Inca Empire. At the height of their power in the early 1500s, the Incas ruled over a vast, well-organized empire of perhaps 10 million people. Two peoples who had an especially strong influence on the Incas were the Mochis and the Chimus.
The Mochis lived along the northern coast of Peru from about 100 BCE to 700 CE. They built cities, dug irrigation canals, and developed special classes of workers.
The Chimu kingdom in northern Peru flourished during the 1300s and 1400s. Like the Mochis, the Chimus built well-planned cities and used elaborate irrigation methods. They also built good roads and created a message system using runners. And the Incas adapted and improved upon all these advances.
The center of the Inca Empire was called the Cusco, which was located high in the mountains of southern Peru. According to one Incan legend, the people were descended from Inti, the sun god.
The Incas began expanding their empire in 1438 after they were attacked by the neighboring Chancas. Even though the Inca emperor and many citizens fled Cusco, one of his sons, Yupanqui, stayed behind and led his army against the Chancas.
After driving off the Chancas, Yupanqui seized the throne and took the name
Pachacuti,
which means earth shaker. Soon the Incas controlled almost every major group in the central Andes region.
To manage the empire, Incan leaders came to rely on a system of two main roads connected by several smaller ones. The roads allowed the emperor at Cusco to communicate with officials in distant places.
Chakis, or messengers, carried the messages from one station to the next. Using this system, messages could travel more than 150 miles a day.
A message consisted of memorized words and sets of strings called quipus, which served as memory aids. In contrast to the Maya, the Inca had no system of writing, but the quipus proved to be an effective substitute for written language.
Section 2, class structure. Incan society was based on a strictly organized class structure made up of three broad classes: the emperor and his immediate family, nobles, and commoners.
At the top of the Incan society was the emperor, called the Sapa Inca. The Incas believed that the Sapa Inca was descended from Inti, the sun god, and for this reason, he ruled with complete authority.
Everything in the empire belonged to the Sapa Inca, who lived in great splendor. The Sapa Inca could have many wives and hundreds of children, but he had one primary wife.
Below the Sapa Inca were the nobles. The Incan nobility was made up of leaders who helped to rule and administer the vast empire.
There were three main classes of nobles: Kapa Incas, who were considered relatives of the emperor; Hahua Incas, who did not share the royal blood; and Curacas, who were leaders of people conquered by the Incas.
Most people in the Incan Empire were commoners who worked as farmers and herders. The Incas did not practice slavery in the usual sense of the word. However, they did require commoners to support the government, both through the products of their labor and by working on government-sponsored products. Incan farmers grew a variety of crops.
The most important crop was the potato, which could survive heavy frost at altitudes as high as 15,000 feet above sea level. Incan farmers were required to give most of their crops to the government, which placed the crops it collected in storehouses throughout the empire.
All right, now family life. Families in the Inca Empire belonged to larger groups or clans called ayus. The ayu was the foundation of Incan society.
Each Ayu had its own farmland and homes, but the Ayu did not own the land. The government loaned the land to the Ayus for living and for farming, and the people of an Ayu then worked this communal land cooperatively to grow crops and produce goods.
The households of the ayu came under the authority of a series of caracas. One head of household ruled every 10 households. One of the functions of the caracas was to make sure ayus paid their taxes.
Most Incan children were born into Ayus of hardworking commoners where they learned about their responsibilities early in life. The children of most commoners did not receive any formal education. Instead, they learned the skills they needed as well as Incan customs from their elders.
Unlike boys from commoner families, the sons of nobles had special amautas or tutors. Amautas taught religion, geometry, history, military strategy, public speaking, and physical training.
Young men and women remained at home until they married. Unlike the emperor and the nobility, male commoners married only one wife. People usually married within their ayu. Some marriages were arranged by families or by the young people themselves. When a couple agreed they would marry, they held hands and exchanged
Oh,
sandals.
that's so cute. I love that. All right, religion was an important part of Incan life. The Incas believed in many gods who controlled various aspects of nature. But to the Incas, the most important god was Inti, the sun god. Inti was important for two reasons. First, Incas believed that the emperor's family was descended from Inti. Second, Inti was also the god of agriculture, which was the basis of Incan life.
The Incas also believed that spirits dwelled in certain sacred objects and places called wakus. The Incan religion was highly formal and required a large number of priests to conduct rituals and ceremonies. The most important temples were those dedicated to Inti.
Like the Maya and the Aztecs, the Incas offered sacrifices to the gods. In many rituals, the Incas sacrificed live animals. The Incas also practiced human sacrifice, but only on the most sacred occasions or in times of a natural disaster.
In addition to performing rituals and sacrifices, priests practiced divination or the art of predicting the future. For example, a priest might ask an oracle when the army should attack another tribe.
All right, next up, chosen women. A unique aspect of Incan religion was the role played by women. Selected girls were honored as chosen women and taken to live in convents where they studied Incan
Hmm.
religion.
Wow. Some went to work in temples or shrines, while others became convent teachers called mamaconas. Still, others went to Cusco and became wives of nobles or secondary wives of the Sapa Inca himself.
A few chosen women were sacrificed at important religious ceremonies.
Section 5, Relations with Other Peoples. The Incas had several methods of bringing other groups of people into the empire. The delegate explained that the tribe could join the Inca Empire and enjoy peace and prosperity, but everyone understood that the alternative was war with the strong Incan army.
If a tribe resisted, however, the two sides met in battle. The fighting often cost the enemy tribe many of its men, and the Incas usually won.
Becoming part of the empire meant adopting Incan ways. While the tribe could go on worshiping its own gods, it had to accept the Incan gods as the most powerful.
Meanwhile, the Incas took an important religious object belonging to the tribe and kept it in Cusco. Despite these efforts, sometimes the Incas failed to bring a tribe fully into their empire. The government forced some rebellious tribes to move far away and then settled loyal members of the empire in their place.
Wow. Okay, now for our lesson summary. In this lesson, you learned about life in the Inca Empire, which arose in the west of South America in the 1400 CE.
The rise of the Inca Empire. In the 1400s, the Incas began rapidly expanding their power from their capital city, Cusco. Eventually, they created a huge empire that extended almost the length of the Andes. An impressive system of roads and messengers helped the emperor manage his vast territory.
Class structure, family life, and religion. Incan class structure had three main levels: the emperor and his family, the nobility, and the commoners. All Incas belonged to ayus, which provided the empire with crops, goods, and labor. Like other early peoples in the Americas, the Incas engaged in many religious practices to maintain proper relationships with their gods, especially their chief god, Inti, the god of the sun.
I relate.
Your classes. like 4 of them.
Relations with other peoples. The Incas used a variety of means to bring others under their control. Conquered peoples had to build a sun temple, study Incan laws, and learn Quechua, which is the language they spoke, you guys. The Incas also took a sacred object as a hostage. Rebellious tribes were forced to relocate.
All right, that wraps it up for lesson 29 on the Incas. That guiding question: how did the Incas manage their large and remote empire?
All right, you guys, and just FYI, before we take our test on this unit, everyone in here gets to be a Chasqui runner. All right, guys, we're out of here.
Bye.